Welcome to episode 5 of the Boetavia Cast. Today I interviewed JB Mazella. I was going to try and clip this down to like 20 minutes. I couldn't do it. I love talking to him way too much, and everything that he said was just a little piece of gold. I hope you really enjoy it, and don't forget to like and subscribe. John Baptiste Mazella, how are you?
I'm very good, my friend, and yourself?
Really good, really good. I'm really excited to have you on. You've always been a huge inspiration to me, and I just can't believe that I'm doing something like this and getting to interview you. So let's get into it. I want to know why you love what you do, because as much and all as I absolutely love everything to do with hair, to attain a skill level of yours, you must love it some amount. So please, what is it that you love about it?
Well, it's easy. I think if you think about it, you spend in your life more time at work that you do with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends, with even sleeping, with anything else. So if you don't love it, there's no way that you can do it, right? So I think you've got this kind of force inside. After, it's like, I think from what you like, things change and evolve during your career, right? I've started really loving the passion for hairdressing because my mom's a hairdresser, so she introduced me to it, right? Then the second part, it's that I think I really, really love the creativity, right? But I think as a young lad, if I tell you the really real truth, is that when a lot of my friend was going to either studies, some was working in like car garages, some was doing restaurants, some was doing this, some was doing that. I think I was in probably the nicest environment, smelled good, and lots of lovely young women too, you know? So that for me was a really good plus to start with. Then second, as it grew, basically, you know, I wanted to move to London because obviously, you know, like what's great about what we do is that there's no limit in hair. There's a lot of creativity, but there's also very strong fundamentals, but I needed to have a structure because in the south of France where I was, it was not really a big amount, I'd say, of possibility to master your craft. So I had to go and work in a big town. And for me, like London was always the mecca of the hair cutting, you know? So I came to London. And then what was, again, another change of motivation at that time is that from being in my very tiny small town of 5,000 people, where you are a big shark in a tiny aquarium, suddenly you get to London and then it's the opposite. You're like Nemo in the ocean, right? A microscopic Nemo in the ocean. But it was great because I've met tons of people like me, girls, guys that are coming from all around the world for a career. And I think it was a very nice kind of like a competitiveness, but in a good way, right? So that was the second part. And then now I think the third part was the fact that as an entrepreneur, you know, it's so good because now that you've acquired all that knowledge, you give it to your staff and then you give it to your students. So you see the energy and your passion for the craft is moving each step differently.
Yeah, definitely. Like
I try to sum it up in a few things, but you know.
Yeah, no, I big time agree. And like that's actually, it's quite similar to why I fell in love with it in the first place as well, is that you said something there about like there is no limit. And that was a huge thing for me, that like I always wanted to have something that I can work on, that you could never be like, there's never a limit, like there's never somewhere you can stop. And it just, as me as a person, I've always wanted to be able to get better like every day at something, whether it's being like something with myself as a person or as a hairdresser or as a personal business or whatever. That was it. That was like you, very, very similar. Like just wanted something to constantly improve at, and so something to always have to achieve.
Yeah, if you stay in the same place, it's very hard to find the motivation with a routine every day, right? But with a little bit of movement or doing things differently and catching up and so on, the buzz is coming back, you know? So yeah, for me at the time, I had to move from France. Otherwise, I think I would have probably stopped hairdressing.
You know? Well, look, that brings us actually quite nicely on to the next thing I wanted to ask you was, so obviously you are motivated by wanting to always improve. But what motivated you to start M&P? What motivated you? Because I know, would I be correct in saying that you worked for Sassoon for a while?
Yes, yes. I'm one of the creative director of Sassoon. I traveled the world with them, did collections, shows, so on and so on. But it was 10 years. And with my ex-business partner at the time, we felt like, for me, it was easy. Just the fact that I'm French, I knew that I could not go above creative director. I would have never been international director. I think they keep that for an English person, which in a way, I can understand why as well, to keep the Britishness of the brand and so on and so on. But
And support local and whatever. Like it is what it is. They want to keep it within themselves. They also want to support each other.
And I just felt at the time that there was, I don't know, the way that Sassoon was going and the way that I'd like things and with my ex-business partner liked things was going in two different directions. So we were actually quite lucky because when we started M&P, that was in 2011, Instagram did not exist or only started. And it was just about that Facebook was still a very underground thing, right? But I started to read articles and things, and they were starting to say that Facebook or social media, they didn't really use social media. They were saying that basically a social platform would help business to grow. And I think what happened is it was right at the time when we opened the brand. We really utilize social media in a really, really strong way. And this is how super quickly we managed to be in about 60 countries across the world. Because before social media, if you wanted to create something international, you had to go through magazines, you had to go through shows and platforms, and then before you get to there, it's very difficult because you need to get all these connections and so on and so on. But with social media, you got the possibility to do it from the comfort of your own platform and your own followers. But at the time when we did the first M&P page, the page or the professional page was exactly like a normal profile. So it will appear on people's feed, right? It would be very easy, even if you have, let's say, 2,000 people liking your professional page, you post a photo and you easily have 300, 400, 500 likes. That was totally legit. It was nobody paid or you didn't push or, so on and so on. So I think what happened is when we launched the company and when we launched the first collection, I think it was shared something like 2,000 or 3,000 times. I have like from the first, ever post that we put. And I think that really helped to spread the word that it was not only like Tony and Guy, Sassoon out there, it was like different platform. And for us, we did it because I think it was our time to try to take on the world, but more than anything, it was about like, we wanted to do it the way we felt was right,
Okay, nice. I know my answer for this next question, but I want to ask you because I want other people to know why you think this particular thing. So,
Okay.
What do you think makes you different as a hairdresser and as a company compared to anyone else? Not anyone in particularly, but anyone else. Like, what separates you as a precision hair cutter to somebody who works in another precision hair cutting or any hair cutting brand or business?
Well, it's funny because I'm going to split that into two answers. The first one, I'm going to say about how it has been until last week. And then the second answer, I'm going to tell you how it's going to be because it's going to be a lot of changes. We'll talk about that later. But from before, I could say that I think the system was a lot more universal. I think the understanding was fairly straightforward and simple, right? And the actual information was very accurate, right? But the thing
So
is
just
that...
sorry to interrupt you, but just for people who don't know, the system that you're talking about is the hair cutting system that you have put in
Yes,
place.
the hair cutting.
Okay,
Yeah. Or
sorry.
the hair
Go on.
coloring system, because or the hair coloring system is exactly the same, right?
Okay.
It goes along the same way.
Go
It's
on.
what we used to call not just how to cut hair, but why. It was basically like everything that we are doing, we're developing a why behind it. So there is everything or every move has a purpose, right? And also the most important thing, it was not only the mechanic of what we do, but also that it looks good on the person. So very, very high kind of suitability level, which I believe a lot of the time what you have within education, it's either is too much theory or either is too much kind of how do you say, like mechanicality, but then not enough wearability, right? Sometimes there's a lot of wearability, it looks very beautiful at the end, but there's not enough structure into the haircut or into the way to apply a color, for instance. So I think that's probably where we were at, you know, since last week. Tell me your view on that one.
Again, this is obviously just a personal view. What I think sets you guys apart is some people go into being an educator, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is a bit of a compliment, so I don't really think you're going to turn it down. I think some people go into education for an ego type of thing, and some people go in to education because they want people to know that they're of a certain standard or to think of them in a certain way. And I know that from the moment that I met you and we started talking, I was like, this guy actually just wants to help. And I don't, even though, in my opinion, you're probably one of the best hairdressers in the world, I don't think that you go about your day thinking that. And I don't think you go about the way you teach thinking I'm the best and you have to listen. It's like, this is how I want to help you. This is what I know, and this is what I think could make you better. That's why I think.
Well, that's a nice compliment, and this is exactly it. You know, for me, there is no best. There is absolutely no best. You know, that's why when you said that, I think it's nice to hear. I take it as a lovely compliment. Thank you. But for me, there is no best, and at the end of the day, the thing is, and you touched on one word before. You touched on the word ego, and the very big problem in our industry is there's tons of egos, and there's tons of megalo narcissistic personality that it's very, very
Niall touched on what you're just saying there in the little cast that I did with him, and in one action he like 100% described it, and he was like, anybody that does this, and I was like, that is, if there is one problem with our industry, that's it.
Yeah. And you know, and at the end of the day, it's like we need to think that, you know, no matter how good you think you are, no matter how amazing you believe your education system is, the main purpose of what we do is to share a knowledge. And it's also in terms of the business side, it's we have a company, and if people do not buy your product, it's that your product is not as good as you think it is, right? So for me, the classroom, you know, I try to always think about the atmosphere that I had when I was younger at school and the type of teacher that I used to hate. And I'm trying to be simply the opposite, you know. But of course, you can't just be like a clown and dancing around and stuff. You need to kind of have a balance with everything. But it's important to have, you know, you keep your consistency in your work. At the end, your work needs to be impeccable. You know, you need to look at it and you say it has to be as good as anybody else, if not better. But then you need to share that information to others. My job is not me to just do a great demo and you're like, oh my God, you know, JB is amazing. No, my job is to actually show you something that I'm going to make you do after. And the goal is that I'm going to be able to teach you so you can do the best that, you know, or the closest if it's the first time, but and after your practice on your own will get you to achieve a better level. But you know, for me, there's no bad student, it's just bad teacher. That's all it is. And when you say bad teacher, it doesn't necessarily mean bad skills. It could be just like bullies, or it could be just like, you know, big egos and so on and so on.
Okay. I was going to ask you, how did you acquire this skill set that you have? But I think we've kind of brushed on that enough. What I would like to know is, so obviously you have a skill level of a certain caliber. What motivated you to get to that level? Because anyone, well, not anyone, but most people can learn to cut hair. But it takes somebody special to learn how to do what you do. So what motivated you to go from being like an average hairdresser to being the best you can be?
I think it's my education within my family. You know, I mean, I've always learned. You know, my granddad was a fisherman. You know, and they come from Italy, like they immigrated to France. And when you look at the way his boat was, the way he always looked on himself, he was always immaculate. He never smelled fish. You know, my mom, you look at the way she was in the salon. You look at always how the salon has been. You know, every aspect of what I've been taught when I was younger was everything that you are going to do, you have to do it well. You have to do it with integrity, and you have to do it with passion. So if you something that you don't like, no problem, you move. You know, life is long enough to change crafts. You know, you never, you know, people always tend to say that they block their stock somewhere. No, they're not. I mean, look, what's happening right now in the world shows it really well. Everything just stopped, right? Did your life stop? No. Yeah. So you always have a choice in life. If something that you don't like, you go, you move. So this is why. So when I chose hairdressing, for me, I was just like, well, I'm just gonna have to do it well. You know, that's it. And I'm lucky. And you know, you probably heard me saying that many times in the past when I came a few times in Dublin. But you know, I always judge by one. I always live with one motto, and it's very simple: is I am the luckiest student there is on the planet, because I get to do those courses every week. And because of the repetition of doing those courses, when I teach someone, in fact, I teach me. When I practice for someone, I practice for me, right? And it's even more difficult in a way, or not difficult is not the word, but it's even more kind of powerful on my end, because people are watching what I'm doing. So you know, people have been paying to get an information, so I have to try to do it the best of my ability. I have to always make sure my sections are clean. I have to make sure that my cutting lines and my guides are clean. I have to make sure my blow dry is spotless, so on and so on. You know, so it keeps the standards, and that's important. You know, the hardest thing in life is consistency. You know, so this is why, you know, but it comes from, I think it comes from education. It comes from since you're very young, I
I
believe.
love that. I love that. Right. Well, this next question was going to be a one part, but just because of what you just said, I'm going to make it a two-part question. So I want to know who or what inspires you. But before I ask you that, I want to know how much of an impact as a hairdresser and how much inspiration have you required from your mom being a hairdresser? Because I know that my mom is probably the reason that I started and stuck with hairdressing. So I'd love to know how much of an impact did your mom have on you?
But the thing for me, it's very easy. It's like my mom should have been, probably, if she didn't get me when she was 18, because she was owner of her own salon and a mom at 18 years old. You know, though, you know, I'm 41-year-old now. So, you know, when my mom's generation used to have babies and then they used to work like restaurants or, you know, own business and so on and so on. I was born on the 13th of July. My mom worked until the 12th of July. She had me 1 week later. She was back at work, right? This is the kind of people they were before, right? And the thing is, like, I know because I can see when she's very good at doing hair up. She's fantastic. She's a very, very good talent at manipulation of hair, real French classic way. And I know that my mom could have easily been like the French Sharon Blaine, for instance. But because she had me so young, it stopped her to kind of take the career path, but then took the career in a more kind of salon way, and she's done really well. At the end, she had 3 salons. She made her own little empires and so on and so on. But for me, it's like when I took the decision to become a hairdresser and move to London, in my head, I was like, I'm gonna achieve what she wanted to achieve. You know, at least that's the least I can do, because I stopped her in a way when I
I
was so young.
love that. And I was waiting for you to say that she stopped working when she had you, but you just said that she owned three salons now.
She retired 2 years ago, And two of the salon basically she sold, which was, she had two salon with maybe like 5-6 stations, and one was very cool. One was on the beach, like Central Bay area. So like everybody was
Whoa.
fighting in the summer to go and work there, because basically it's like, you know, when you go and eat, you just put your flip flop for lunch, and then boom, on the beach you get your salad, you swim. There was a shower at the back, you get the shower, and then you finish your clients until the evening. And it was a very, very cool, like bars and pubs and stuff, like right on the beach, you know. So like if you wanted to have a quick drink after, but it's a very kind of different life there, because there's no public transport, you know, everybody can walk from home to work. It's very small areas. And then she's got the main one, which the main salon is in center town, but it's a really small town. And the salon is can probably go up to 10 staff. But 2 years ago, she retired. She was supposed to sell the salon to a big brand. And then my cousin wanted to take over, but she didn't want to take over alone. So I'm actually 50-50 business partner with her. So I took over the family business in France. But I'm never really there. But I give her like education support every 3 months when I go down there. And I
Whoa.
do 1 day of clients. And those clients, some of them are still my mom's client that known me since I was born. And I do 12 clients in 1 day. I tell you what, at the end of that day, I'm more shattered, like if I was teaching the whole entire island, my friend. I'm dead. Because I don't do it very often now. So suddenly, like being behind the chair is tough, you know, super
Yeah.
tough.
Well, I mean, look, that in itself explains all of the other questions that I asked you about being motivated and whatever. Like that, if your mom being a boss lady like that doesn't motivate you to go and reach some big heights, then I don't know what will. Um, okay, well then look, I'm going to skip the second part of that question because we're already hitting 20 minutes, and I feel like this next one might go on for a while. So, what are your plans for the future? For M&P, for yourself at home with the little baby, personal life, like where do you want to be 5-10 years from now?
Well, so first of all, sadly, because of COVID-19, we're not going to be able to keep the salon and the academy in London. It's going to be very, very difficult, basically, because it's £45,000 we need each month to open this place. And it's been now almost like 8 weeks, almost 2 months that we have zero money coming in. So it's very, very difficult. And, you know, like landlord in central London and so on and so on, it's tough. You know, it's not like in France, for instance, the salon's been closed for even longer, but my mom owns the building. So my mom said to us straight away, guys, no rent, don't worry. You'll pay the rent when you guys start working again, right? So this was very difficult for London, but we're going to definitely keep on the education part. And I'd like to have a little studio academy as well in the future. That's 100%. Now, you've just said something that massively changed my life is 10 days ago, I've had a little girl called Charlie, super cute little angel. She's such a good baby as well. My wife is such a lovely mom too as well. She's been brilliant. And I think that, yeah, it can change my views. And I've looked at basically like different areas inside myself that I did not know during this last 2 months, right? Being a bit more, you know, not alone, but being at home, like, you know, reading a bit more, seeing different things. And, you know, I think I was saying that to my friend Johnny. I said, my conquering flame to have the best academy in the world, the best this, the best that, it's totally extinguished. And I think for me now, like you say, in 10 years, I'd be super happy to have a nice little house in the south of France, do one travel a month, have a nice little academy somewhere, and then just take a little bit more time for essential stuff, right? That's what I want to do, I think.
I'm speechless. I can't believe you just said that. First of all, because I know the first time I met you, you did have that like burning passion to own the biggest academy and be the biggest, the best. And I can't believe that JB Mazella has been defeated by a baby.
Oh, no, it's not the baby. Do you know what? It's actually not the baby. It's more the COVID-19 situation and how the world has handled it. and it shows, it really shows that what's happening now is the society that we were living in and the way we were living was not the right way. It was not the right way. It's gonna be some change. It has to be some change. And I think along those change, the most interesting thing, and you probably did not realize that, but you know, I know you, and I know how much you want things, right? How much like you love your craft and your passion for learning, and then your skill level that you have already, which is very high, but you want more, you want more, you want more. So already, like when you were working, you probably thought, shit, there's not enough hours in one day, right? And you always think, oh my god, oh my god. But now it's been 7 weeks, or I don't know how long it's been in Ireland, that you guys have not working as well. Yeah, and I can guarantee you that the day are as fast. You can find as much things to do. The day are going as well like this. So you kind of realize before you were like, oh my God, actually I can get a lot of stuff done in a much more relaxed way without running after the clock all the time, feeling stressed all the time, running after things that you have to pay after this, after this, after that, And then the thing is also like it's very interesting because I've been looking at a lot of people's faces when I'm doing FaceTime and this and that. Everybody's looking much more relaxed. It's almost there is colors back in a face. We were almost gray, all of us before, running after something all the time, right?
Yeah.
So it's not the demotivation that I've got. I'm still gonna really work hard, do all this, all that. But now I know that if I don't succeed on having 15, 20 academy across the world or this or that, it's okay, right? I mean, I still want, if I've got the possibilities, I was talking to a client in Vietnam this morning. I was talking to someone in Canada yesterday. I still things going to happen. But at the end game, if in 10 years time, I've got a lovely little house in the south of France on the beach with a couple of kids, and then, I'd be as happy, as happy.
Unreal. I love it. And look, I wanted you on this for many reasons. And the main reason was that talking to you and knowing how much you give to everything, like I just wanted everybody else to see that admiration that I have for you. And what you've just said there is just like the cherry on the top, like just so nice and humbling to know that somebody that is up here with everything that they do can still be that humble, still have that much love and passion for not only their craft and the thing that got them up here, but for their family, for their life, and to be that open-minded, to be able to turn what was once like your life's mission to now like having something totally different, but still so wholesome, and you'll still get the same amount of satisfaction and love and passion and everything from it. I love it.
Listen, my friend, I'm going to finish with something that my granddad told me, and that was always sticked with me. We are always at the right time, at the right place, with the right people. Always. Sometimes the people are right for the wrong reason. I mean, they're not so nice, but they teach you really good things. Just see what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes the place that you are there because you might have to realize that where you were before was better, but you had to go to realize that home was better or whatever was better. Do you see what I mean? Time is the same thing. Sometimes you rush too much, so you realize that you have to ease a little. Sometimes it's the opposite. You have to kind of move on a bit faster, right? But then life always take you home. And home, what I mean is within, right? You're always fine. There's always, we're always going to be okay. Always. This I believe very strongly.
I love it. JB, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for taking the time to have the chats. I will see you soon. Hopefully in November, this will all be blown over and I will get to see you in Dublin. And look, if we don't, I will see you soon.
No problem, my friend. Maybe what you do is you take a chair for the next live with, yeah? And you do a little haircut.
Sounds like a plan.
Take care, bud. Lauren, babe. Big love. See you guys.
She's got the she's saying goodbye now. She has the headphones in for the switch. Peace out, JB.
You know what? Be careful, man, because she ain't gonna touch your bottom no more if she's going into that one.
Right, come on. See ya. I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Boetavia Cast. I'm going to leave a link to my last podcast and my last vlog in the bio or in one of these card things. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Cracky.